Insurance verification, not a very popular subject, but it is vital to the financial health and physical health of your patients. When I go into clinics and I listen, I hear physicians and staff say, "Mrs. Jones, we need to check your insurance on that. Mrs. Jones, I'm not sure if that procedure, that brace, those wound care supplies are covered by insurance, so we're going to do an insurance verification and we will get back to you." The problem with that is that until that insurance verification is done, until they reach the patient, and until that patient decides to come back to clinic, that patient does not have the necessary brace, procedure, wound care supplies that they need to heal. And a lot of times that phone call is never made, that phone call to the patient is never made, or the patient decides that they don't want to come back in. And that is a huge financial problem for your office and also a physical health problem for your practice. For instance, take wound care supplies. If a patient has a wound, they need wound care supplies now. Not a week from now, not 3 days from now, not a month from now. Wound care supplies need to be given within 24 hours. We do not have time to wait for insurance verifications to be made by your staff, then to call the patient, then to have the patient come back and have the doctor prescribe those wound care supplies. That is a problem and a health problem for the patient. So how is this fixed? You don't want to give patients items that their insurance is not going to cover. You don't want to give away free products and hope that someday they will pay you. So how is this problem remedied? In our office and in the offices that I work with, we do insurance verifications before we ever see a patient. And how this is handled is when a new patient calls in, we figure out what the patient needs to be seen for. We then go ahead and schedule the patient. And then we ask, "Mrs. Jones, are we processing any insurance in your behalf?" Phrasing the question this way makes it so the patient feels like you are doing them a favor. It is horrible as a patient when I call a doctor's office and the first question they ask me is, "What is your insurance?" After that phrase, I really don't want to go to their office. But if the office is asking what the problem is, scheduling in the patient, and really taking a vested interest in that patient, and then phrasing the question of, "Will we be processing any insurance in your behalf?" the patient feels like you are doing them a favor. And they will say, "Oh yes, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield." And you will reply, "Well, we would love to be able to check on your benefits so that we're able to give you an accurate suggestion on what your insurance covers." And then the patient will give the member ID number. And then your office staff, whether it's a receptionist, whether it is an insurance person, whether it's your biller, then can call the insurance and can get that necessary information. And when I say call, I mean physically call. Right now, yes, through Availity, through insurance apps, you can find out what a patient's deductible is. You can even find out what their co-insurance is. But you cannot find out if certain things are covered. So you need to physically call the insurance company and you need to ask, "Hey, is L3000 covered? Is A6010 covered? Is L4361 covered?" And the biller or the receptionist is going to fill out this form and they're going to ask all these questions. And then they're going to ask, "Does the patient have a deductible?" Is the deductible for medical services different than the deductible for durable medical equipment? And what their coinsurance is and what their copayment is. So that when you as a physician see the patient for the first time and you want to prescribe custom orthotics or you need to prescribe wound care supplies, you know and are armed with the information that, yes, Mrs. Jones, I am prescribing you custom orthotics and they are covered by your insurance. Or, yes, Mrs. Jones, you have a wound, and in order to heal that wound, we need to dispense wound care supplies. And you know whether or not that's covered and what that patient's responsibility is. That way, when the patient checks out from your office and they have that night splint or they've had an ingrown toenail procedure, that you are able to collect at time of service. That you can say, Mrs. Jones, you have met your deductible, but you have a 20% coinsurance and maybe the orthotics aren't covered. So you have a deposit that is required And so Mrs. Jones knows that, oh, for that procedure, I have a 20% coinsurance and I need to put a down payment on those orthotics. And so she pays for it at time of service. And guess what? You're not chasing for the patient to come back in to dispense those supplies or to do that procedure. You're doing it at time of service, and you're also getting paid for those procedures at time of service. This is a great financial benefit to your practice and also a phenomenal physical benefit for your patients. It also allows you to sound competent in what your office is doing and what services you provide and what it's going to cost the patient. If you would like an insurance verification form, we have them at Amerix, and you are free to contact Amerix and get that form. My name is Holly Berkman. I am a practice management consultant. If you have any questions or concerns about the financial health of your practice or about protocols or about implementing new policies or procedures, feel free to reach out and I would be more than happy to assist. Thank you.